Boom. Recording, testing, recording, testing, recording, testing. Alan, give me some audio.
Hello there.
Give me a little
This is
more.
where the fun begins.
There we go. That's better. Oh, nice. Awesome. We sound good. Welcome, everyone and every all to the Saber Martial Arts Podcast. This got to be like episode 42 or 3 by now, which is pretty dope. We just released episode 40 by the time of this recording. So that's pretty cool. That is our talk about non-Saber martial arts that we did a few weeks ago. Talking about some Terraskasi, some Zamashiwo, some Ichani dueling arts and the like. And it was pretty dope. It was a good conversation. Wild and crazy and kind of all over the place and awesome. And so go check that out if you have not yet. And, of course, every episode leading up to this one you're currently listening to. And tonight we are continuing our series of roast commentaries for the Acolyte, which is, I don't know, heating up. Is that a good way to say it, Alan? Heating up?
Yeah.
It's been a good couple weeks for the Acolyte. If you guys have been keeping up with us on this commentary series, sounds like I got an alarm going off, which people are probably going to hear on the recording, which is hilarious. Very hilarious. Okay, so if you've been keeping up with us on this series, you'll know that the first 2 episodes we were pretty into, especially from a martial arts perspective. Then episodes 3 and 4, Alan had to kind of coach me through them a little bit, but I did better. I did better with them with his tutelage, and it was fun. So then tonight we have episodes 5 and 6, which I just finished. I'm sure you did as well. I just finished episode 6 2 hours ago.
Nice.
So that's dope. I thought it was decent. I thought episode 5 was a kind of what we've all been hoping for. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of what I was talking about. Like, there's even because it's been about a week since we've seen that episode, just seeing people's reactions online about it.
Yeah.
General negativity about the show, and then nothing about episode 5. Everybody's just kind of like, okay, it's cool.
Yeah, I guess you did something right.
So it's like, I mean, come on.
Can't win, can't lose. I mean, it really
Yeah.
it's another good Star Wars, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just another good Star Wars. I get some of the consternation with some of the things we've gotten since George Lucas gave it up, but don't forget, people, and Alan, you've belabored this point is that a lot of y'all hated the George Lucas era. I mean, like,
Yeah.
You remember when people would say things like, the best Star Wars are the ones that George Lucas didn't direct. Which is, at that time, 2 of them, 2 out of 6, and then 2 out of 9, right? Well, no, 5 out of 9. But the point just being, look, like, okay, the best Star Wars are the ones George Lucas didn't direct. Then we gave you 3 with different directors, and you hated it. What are we supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? What are we supposed to do? George Lucas didn't direct you into Ewoks. That was somebody else. That was Lawrence Kasdan. I mean, that was somebody else, or whoever that guy was. I mean, it's just people don't understand all the time when they complain and they moan. And that's not to say I understand everything. That's just to say, hold your breath and watch the whole Star Wars and see what happens.
Yeah, it's again, we said that last time too. It's criticizing a piece of art before it's finished. You don't see the whole picture. You're just looking at, a draft.
Yeah.
And a lot of people stop there.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's your prerogative because it's art.
Yes, exactly.
But,
exactly.
For those people that are into it, they will stick through it and go, okay, I'll watch the whole thing and then make my
Yes.
make my not educated, but actual um, actual opinion based on the whole instead
Yes.
of just the thing. Because like, let me tell you, there's so many TV shows out there that are not good, and there are a lot of them that start off good and then turn to crap.
Well, and people
You
love them
know?
no matter what, and then
Yeah,
and
and
people hate
so
them.
yeah, and that's okay too. If you don't like to watch, let's see, what's a really popular one? Grey's Anatomy.
I
If
was
you don't
just,
like to
oh
watch,
my gosh, how were you just thinking that? Oh my God.
if
You
you
must
don't
have had a
like,
similar college experience that I did.
well, I'm just thinking out loud here. Like, if you don't like something, don't watch it, but don't complain about it every single time it's on. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Or
And
go out,
that's
go out of your way to complain about it. Like, I
right.
get that to a certain
Start
degree.
conversations just to
Yeah.
complain about
I get that to a
it.
certain degree. I've been rage baited in a big way by certain
Hmm.
things, right? Especially Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
especially when it's like fan fiction and stuff, and they're like,
Right.
"Oh my, this is the Darth Vader movie we should have gotten." It's like, stop! No, what is it's boring as hell, and
Right.
you don't know anything about filmmaking. Stop pretending that you know more than these people, right? Like,
You
just
mean the three Darth Vader films that we got?
it's ridiculous. This,
Yeah.
this rabbit hole just gets too deep. Let me
Right.
just put it this way: the last two episodes of the Acolyte have been great. Okay, can we
Hmm.
just say they've been great? They've given us a little Star Warsiness.
Hmm.
The Cortosis shows up.
Hmm. Yep.
Cortosis, Alan shows up
Yep.
in
I mean,
canon.
we talked about the fact that it was cortosis, though they didn't say it, but now they
But
literally
now they
said it.
said it.
So
Yeah, in
so
episode
there you
6.
go. They didn't make it a brand new thing
They
because everybody's favorite new alloy Beskar was never called Beskar. It was called Mandalorian Iron before the
That's correct.
Mandalorian, right?
That's correct. And
So
it was named Beskar by a lady in, I believe, England who
hmm
who's a military veteran and
hmm
made up all this lore for the Mandalorian Commandos or the Republic Commandos and such. It's she gave the Mandalorians a language, but yeah, it was Mandalorian Iron and Sith. Before they were Sith, they were what? Dark Jedi, right? That's like
hmm
no. Oh, they're changing all this canon. No, no. I mean, maybe they're adjusting things and they're sort of like um, realizing things that have maybe only been written about before by other authors and creators, right? Other
right.
artists who were allowed
And
to take the keys to George Lucas's Ferrari, right? Or
I have
George
I
Lucas's
have to
Millennium
say
Falcon.
I have to say that after episode six, Kiadi Mundi kind of gets a little bit of a reprieve from me because at in episode five, spoilers, he says the magic S word, and then we're like, well, Kiadi Mundi's totally wrong about everything, isn't he? And then in episode six, they're like, well, we don't know exactly what happened. So I was like, okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, and
But
that was one of the things that I've been kind of wrestling with, and maybe we'll get into it a little more as the episodes unfold. But this whole
mhm,
like the Sith have been extinct for a millennium. Like, have
mhm.
they? Did you know something? Like, what did you know? What did you know, Conehead? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But it. I also like in episode 6, especially like the way that they've made Smilo Ren this quintessential. Trust me not, version
Yeah.
of the Sith, version of the
Yeah.
dark Jedi or the fallen Jedi, which is a term that they say in the episode, which I kind of
Hmm.
appreciated, They didn't really like they said the S word, but then they didn't. Like you
Hmm.
you said you kind of said that. Um I also want to say that episode 5 was probably the best fight choreography I've seen in Star Wars since Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd
Well,
agree with that specific. I mean, there are some good ones. There are some good ones, but it was damn good.
oh yeah, I think it's up there with the Ahsoka Darth Maul fight.
And I believe that for people who were maybe a little disappointed with Revenge of the Sith's Palpatine super fight,
Hmm.
that maybe this will kind of tickle their goat a little bit better. You know?
Right.
Can I say tickle their goat on a? I just said it twice. Well, there you go. Um,
Well, you're the one that edits this, so it's up to you
yeah, I'm
whether
gonna
you can
go
say
with
it or not.
I'm gonna go with we can say it. People be doing goat yoga these days. Why can't you just tickle the damn goat? Okay. So here we are. Well, I don't know. Do we? This is a good martial arts episode of the Saber Martial Arts Podcast. It's also a good Star Wars episode of the Saber Martial Arts Podcast. So I don't know if you're fortunate enough to be listening to this. Sorry, patting our own back. Thank you, and I think you're gonna enjoy tonight. Even if you haven't been enjoying the show up to this point, meaning the Acolyte. Hopefully you've been enjoying the podcast. But if you haven't been enjoying the Acolyte up to this point, maybe tonight will change your mind a little bit. It has been pretty good for me. I'm curious. It seems like there are a lot of loose ends. Curious how they're going to wrap it up. And you know, at the moment we're in a good third out of 4 acts the way we're breaking it up here on the show. So, sabermartialarts.life. Check it out. Before we go any further. Okay, now. The Acolyte, Season 1, Episode 5. Let's go to... It's always like 1 minute on the dial, right? So let's see what happens. And I'm going to mute my TV.
Yep.
And make sure I have subtitles on. So we're giving y'all the time to do the exact same things on your own TV if you're choosing to watch. If you're listening then in the car or something like that, well... Again, thank you. Please share it with a friend. Please leave us a review or hit that thumbs up button. And that's all the shameless plug-in will do for now. The Acolyte, Season 1, Episode 5. I'm at 1 minute exactly on the dial, hitting play in 3, 2, 1, play. Ooh, I'm excited. So when we last left our heroes... We got the Star Wars heads popping up. They were fixing to get in a scrap, and they're about to get in that scrap right now.
Yep. They just got blown back. So,
we got the Lucasfilm logo.
Yep. If you haven't seen the previous episode, it is a big setup for this episode. So,
well, yeah. Pause right now. Go back and watch that, and then catch back up. And if you haven't seen the first 4 episodes by the time this podcast releases, then you're behind. It's probably finished by then. Because we're releasing these about every 2 weeks. So.
Yep. And Osha wakes up, the trusty droid Pip in her hand, and she can hear distant lightsabers.
Yeah, lightsabers buzzing and huzzing.
And we see this orange dust that would be the Force floor and dead Jedi.
Dude, right? He is dead as a doornail too, ain't he?
Yeah. And here is the aftermath of the last scene of last episode.
Right outside of Kelnaka's abode, where he rests inside with his chest wide open.
Yeah. And then this is
the beginning of an epic battle.
Classic use of terrain, right?
Yes.
Keeps everybody he weaves between the trees, he keeps everybody there. The way they're shooting it.
He only uses his saber when he needs to, and then he uses footwork.
There goes the Keldoran.
Yep. Then he uses footwork and timing to get around the rest.
Mm-hmm. And Cortosis shorts out their lightsabers.
So cool. He's got the gauntlet and the helmet, and he uses both.
Yep, they're trying to figure out what the heck just happened, because they've probably never even seen Cortosis before.
They've probably even never seen a red lightsaber before.
Yeah. Yeah, what is it? They said
Yeah.
last episode. Oh, there goes the liver. And there goes 2 Jedi for the price of
Oh
1.
my
Jedi
gosh.
kebab.
I mean, so
And look at
clean.
the camera work, right?
Oh, the force pull into the saber stab, then the camera shifts behind the tree as he lops the heads off, or at least that's what you're led to assume, right? And by the way, if we're analyzing this from a forms perspective, that was about as perfect Ataru vapid as you could get. I mean, just beautiful martial arts work by the choreography team.
Looks like he's immune to stunning.
Oh yeah, that's true. It wasn't even occurring to me as that was I was just so taken aback by the phenomenal choreography.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, this guy makes reverse grip look badass.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Kel.
Oh, and he does a great job of doing it quickly. And if you are ever to use reverse grip as an actual thing, it's not something that you would hold very long. Sorry, Star Killer.
Yeah. Or Ahsoka, early Ahsoka.
Yeah. It's something, and part of this too is his use of the reverse grip, using the force to keep his lightsaber on.
Force throw. This is a really cool force throw. This is like one of the most perfect force throws we've seen in live action Star Wars. And then it looks like in a video game.
Those trees should fall forward in between them.
Yes.
But there's just a little bit of the force to push them backward instead.
Yes, that was curious to me when I first watched it, but then I thought to myself, he probably did that on purpose with the force, This is
good old
crazy.
Yor trying to be the best Jedi he can, but at the same time not personalizing, his friend.
Yeah.
It's like, I have a name.
Now, this is interesting to me from, a martial arts perspective. Of course, we have the Acolyte logo now. But the fact that now Soul, after literally 6, 8 Jedi Knights and Masters got slain, Soul is now prepared to take this guy on solo.
Yeah. And we kind of find out why next episode.
Sure.
Because at this point, we know that Saul is a pretty good Jedi Master and is very in tune with the Force. And we actually feel that the fact that this is while they're fighting, it's through the Force that they're swinging their saber. And another tease of familiarity, right?
Yeah, Soul says he's familiar somehow. Yeah. Now, this is phenomenal again. We've got very Palpatine-esque motions going on here.
He opened up with Makashi thrusts and then did a front flip, front roll out of Ataru. So he's dancing between different forms.
Yes.
And
Soul is very curious about this because he recognizes the techniques, but not the way they're performed.
Correct. And which the drop kick from Jackie.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
She's just been waiting to drop kick somebody.
Oh my gosh, dude! I know Jackie's she's so Anakin Skywalker right now.
Some awesome.
This would maybe I was gonna say jujitsu, like Japanese style.
Yeah.
This is very cool.
And you're cuffed.
Jackie's slick, man.
Yeah, she's awesome. As we're going through this too, you're watching them go through the floor work and kicking up dust and still delivering these lines. These actresses did a great job.
They really did.
And stunt doubles, of course.
Yes. More unarmed martial arts. Like, this show is chock full of not using lightsabers as well as using lightsabers. Yep. They really did their homework.
Yep. And then here
here comes Soul. This is fast, man. This is Jedi combat. This is what we saw in the prequels, but also kind of different because it's 100 years before.
And he turns off his lightsaber a lot in this. The Stranger does. He doesn't keep it on the whole time.
I love that stuff, by the way. I love that arrogance, from a Darksider.
Now let you read my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
We find out more about
his
that line in the next episode.
yeah, his helmet works kind of like Magneto's, it seems.
Yeah, yeah. And also in
Keeping
reverse.
yeah.
So Soul is trying to figure out who he is, and he's like, "Come on, man, you don't know? You don't
Yeah.
know?"
Yeah. So at
Oh,
this point, Jackie
man.
has not drawn her lightsaber at all.
Nope, still on her belt.
Yeah. She's just fighting with her fists and her feet. Nice little lift of the leg, a couple Momakashi thrusts, and then a little bit of gemso here with
Yep.
the side kick.
Well, and those heavy, heavy basic slashes. I mean, that's gemso too. You're 100% on that. That sidekick was beautiful, by the way. Turning sidekick.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And it was just a flash in that awesome, multi-person fight. But he headbutts a lightsaber.
Yes,
at one point
I said something in passing about that because that occurred to me on the second watching. Like, oh my gosh, that was a headbutt. And at first, back in old canon, in Legends, they had this thing about the Sith lightsabers were synthetic crystals, and they were actually technically stronger energy than a Kyber crystal or a Adagon crystal, as they might have been called, also. And they could short out a Jedi's lightsaber in much that same way. Now, I wasn't super into that particular part of the lore, but I did like the idea of the synthetic crystals. So that's what I thought they did at first. I thought it was the lightsaber that shorted out the Jedi's lightsabers. But then when I found out it was Cortosis, I was like, oh, that's cool.
And
that's like
another clean
cool.
sweep.
Beautiful judo sweep. And you see her sort of alien spots there on her hands.
But now she finds Kalmaka's lightsaber.
Which Eric might argue is a light club, potentially.
Yeah, it should be.
It probably should be. We've talked about light clubs on the show before, but if you would like an example
here we
of a
go.
light club.
He's going to go ahead and fight Jackie.
And this is very Ataru.
With another side kick.
Strictly defending herself at the moment. Then she kind of like wakes up and goes, you know what?
Yeah.
I think I can beat
Again,
this.
turning off his lightsaber just to show his power.
She's not really phased. I mean, you could tell she's a little scared, but like...
Ooh, right on the the bracer. And, I have 2 lightsabers, bro.
Oh, say what? Oh, yeah, that's right.
And
Kalmaka's.
then, my lightsaber works now. 2 versus 1.
Oh, you in trouble now, son? Oh, you in trouble now, son?
And you notice that she's using 1 in reverse grip as well as 1 in orthodox grip.
Yep.
So...
Yep. Shout out, by the way, to our Holocron class that I did last night. I did a little bit of that foregrip and reverse grip combination with the Tomahawk class. So check that out on our YouTube. Click the link in the episode description.
And
I'm going to shut up.
Wheel arms. This time he actually cut the lightsaber emitter.
That's Kalmaka's. So, that's okay. Jackie, get back to your stick, girl.
Yeah, but you know what? Hitting the hilt is considered a point in some rule sets.
In our rule sets, generally.
That's what I mean. For that particular reason.
Yeah. In other words, make it a point.
Yeah. So even that, though that's the emitter, you got hit.
Yeah.
Your lightsaber does not work.
Where was Yord when this thing attacked Soul in the first place? Was he not with them? I thought he was with them.
No, he was, but he's still not turning off his lightsaber till now. He's like, oh, right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. That thing flew at us.
Yeah, he flew
Strange
right
that there are none here now.
Lightsabers. Yeah. And then we see that even at night, right, because this episode is called Night, where the previous episode was day, you can see, like...
that's a freaky camera shot. Holy crap.
Yep.
That's some Tim Burton
The fact that he's
stuff.
in her head, right? What a great, way to show, nope, he feels like he's right there.
May trying
And
to
then,
sort of plead with him.
yeah,
He's like, you're not my style no more.
yeah. And he's, again, one-handing it.
Yep.
And,
He's only got the
ooh,
Cortosis gauntlet on the left arm,
yep.
which is interesting. You're using it more like a shield,
Yeah, and
which is
he's,
awesome.
and you can, again, they kind of show it
He's
later
in
on. It's actually,
full Ceresu right now, which as a
yeah,
Darksider, by the way, Darth Bane was very proficient in Ceresu. That was his favorite
yeah.
form. And as a Darksider to use
Ooh,
Ceresu, there's a sort of vain, what's the term?
no.
Like, I don't know. You wouldn't expect a Darksider to go strictly defense, but it's almost still a vicious form that way. Sorry, I interrupted you, but I was just noticing that heavy
Yeah,
defense and how it was still kind of like vicious and dark-sidey.
yeah. Well, he turns his saber on and off and flips it and everything like that.
Yeah.
And in Star Wars called Trocada, where the unorthodox on and off of your blade kind of confuses the opponent.
Which is illegal in
So
most real-world saber competitions, by the way.
that's correct.
But it is a cool technique.
Right. Oh, the second time she says we have to go back, but now she's kiting some moths. Now this is also very cool. He is headbutting again and going reverse grip so that he can get in close enough
Yes.
to headbutt.
And he's using the
And
reverse grip as a shield and as a stabbing
go.
tool, which is
Yep.
the best
Boom!
way.
Boom!
Oh.
She hits him with and rip Jackie.
And
She
now,
had the
just like in
clutchest move.
Jedi Outcast, you see, or Jedi Survivor, you see that he can remove a lightsaber from within his lightsaber. That was wild.
Yeah.
He's got a little Shoto blade.
Yeah. And look, it's Khmer. It's Khmer, guys.
Yeah, Alan, you called that one in last pod.
Yeah, but I had like 3 guesses. So.
Yeah, dude, that was a wild camera shot, that kill shot, and just the technique of it all. The Shoto blade. I mean,
and
come
then
on.
dehumanizing her by saying its name, not her name.
Yeah, it has a name.
Yeah.
Was that its name?
Oh.
She was. Yeah. Dude, she fought like a badass though.
You brought her here, and she instead of shorting out her blade by stabbing him in the helmet, did a pommel strike. Also not legal in most rule sets.
Yeah,
Ooh.
we've talked about that before.
Neither is this. You can't throw your cape at somebody and then attack them. It's also not.
Yeah.
It's
all
generally
things we can
frowned
talk
upon.
about though. I've used, of course, pommel strikes in the dojo in training, but yeah, in
And then-
competition it gets
Look at this.
wild. And he's not even pointing the
Insanity.
blade at him, dude.
Yep. No, he just put it against her head like a. This is the hostage situation. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. What you gonna do? She's such a well. I want to say thought out way of showing his villainy, right? But here's where the internet basically breaks themselves when he says, no, you would call me a Sith.
But he doesn't say I am a Sith. He says you would call me that.
Yeah, and then I did wear a mask. You know.
Yeah, I know, dude. The humor is so dark.
Yeah.
So dark.
And all he wants to do is be free, guys. He's not just a bad guy. He just does bad things.
I want a pupil in Acolyte.
But this one's broken. So the thing about this is he wants to pass on knowledge. For whatever reason, he wants to pass on knowledge, right?
Well, isn't that the way of the Sith? One master, one apprentice, never more, never less.
Right. But this is, again, all speculation on my part. But I feel like he is the acolyte to a bigger master.
Well, okay, so this is kind of what I was thinking too, but maybe not to a bigger master. Maybe
You're to the rescue. Oh, I didn't know he had a
And he uses the
Yeah, the
helmet to short
racer
the other
too.
guy's lightsaber out. Very interesting.
Surprise. And a ripcord and a
Oh,
rip yord.
remember, May had to kill one without a weapon. Well,
Yep.
he just killed one without a weapon.
Yeah.
So you might be right about this, but I was kind of thinking maybe not to a bigger
Bang.
master, but
She is not immune to being stunned like
if the
Chimera's.
if the Sith have been extinct for a millennium, right? Then
Ooh, again, open hand. Pox out.
oh yeah, and this is good stuff too. I'm gonna shut up for a second.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll bring it up between
Big
episodes.
swing strikes. And again, just toying with him.
Wow, he ate that headbutt like it was nothing.
Yep. But
Force
then again,
assisted front kick too. I like that.
This is his. This is him trying to put Saul yet again in an impossible situation. Right? Saul got saved from the other situation by Yord.
Yeah.
You know, but now he's like, "Oh yeah, hey, what's up? Hey, girl." You know.
So now
I've accepted my darkness.
He's trying to bring some doubt into Osha's mind about Soul and what Soul's all about and what Soul was about and it looks like Soul has something to hide, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Well, also just because Osha is there, he's just like, hey, you're not. You and I, we've done bad things. Rules.
The Jedi do not attack the unarmed. I mean, honestly,
follow them. You never have to break them.
Yeah,
right. He's killed how many Jedi?
Yeah, at this point, like, Soul, shut up, man. Just lop his head right off, dude.
Now, I'm gonna point this out to you. Maybe you've already seen this. She says goodbye to her best friend, and then she defeats a Sith without a weapon.
Yeah, that's true. I actually didn't think about that.
So he's protecting himself from the Umbra moths in a big circular pattern.
He's doing amazing. Very Bagua, right? He's doing amazing.
But let me point out that this is all supposed to happen during one cycle of night. So what we see, right, is only half an hour of it.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to have been going on all night.
Yeah, that's a good point. And every time that we didn't see lightsabers on screen, they were likely still being used off screen.
Right.
So this battle, literally, they've been fighting all night, not just like a 3-minute round. Like, they've been fighting for their lives all night long. Now, that's a pretty shot, right? Of pseudo Kashyyyk here. Jurassic Star Wars.
Yeah, they shot this all in South America.
Yeah.
I think I said that before.
Yeah.
And just for the shot of the mountains over the clouds, and it was just like, yeah, that was good. It looks ethereal. It looks like an alien planet. That's basically what they wanted it to be. And then you can see again some of the things that we might criticize in the story is for a cinematic reason. You have one twin in black and one twin in almost white. So you can tell the difference between them.
Yes. And that's going to be key here in a few minutes. She's confronting May now about some of the bad stuff May's done. Like, why you pointing all these fingers when you done killed our family? Like, what are you talking about? And here's one of my things with storytelling. Like, I understand that you need to withhold information from the audience, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes, like, you know there's something more to the story. Why doesn't the sister just come out and say, I mean, you think I killed everybody, but this is what really happened. Like instead, she's sitting here. I don't know. That's just me assuming that she didn't really kill everybody or whatever.
Right.
But you know,
Well, it's also how many times have you spoken to a sibling and gone, I never said that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're just
Well, and
like,
that's what I
wait.
mean. Like, I don't know. I'm sort of having a little bit of a hard time believing the sisterhood. Of course, they haven't been sisters in 16 years, right? So like,
Right.
there's a weirdness about it for sure. But I'm just having a little bit of a hard time believing the sisterhood. Maybe it's because I raised daughters. I have one
Yep.
son, but I have two daughters, and uh, there's definitely something about sisters, man, and brothers too.
Yep.
They have a certain thing, like
Look at that awesome bit of jujitsu that
yeah,
she
the
just
joint
did.
lock in here. That hold is great for control. By the way, if you want to pause it right there and study that hold, is good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's something that
And
a brother can't get from a sister that he can only get from a brother, and that's something that a sister can't get from a brother. She can only get it from her sister. You know, something
right.
in life. And I'm just having a hard time with that right now. But again, they haven't been together in 16 years. There's probably some,
Right. And if there was clear communication, there'd be no story.
sure, right, exactly. That's my whole thing. That's what I have. You know, I just I'm searching for the linear, but it's taking a circular path.
Yeah. And this is where you see a new plan showing up
Yes,
in May's eyes.
she's
You
got the old
see that,
Mulan situation going on here now.
right, right. And then, oh, my hair has to get cut
I'm telling you, that
perfectly like hers.
that is one way to do it, man.
Yeah.
That is
But
one
yes,
way
this
to
is
do it.
again very symbolic cutting of the hair. We see it a lot. And poor Pip is out of juice. And so are the Umber Moths. And my boy can fly, Smilo Ren.
That was more of a glide, but yes, it was very
Yeah.
flight like. It was Dracula like, in fact.
And look, Basil.
Dude, this thing is my dude.
Mhm.
I like this thing. Uh, man, I'm impressed with Smilo. I've got a
Yeah,
thought on him. I want to talk about it between the episodes here.
sure. But
But
this
I
is
got a thought
also
on
where
him.
we see this is the part in Die Hard where you're yelling at the screen saying that's not them, you know. But yeah, this is one of those things where you're just like, I don't know, man. You're supposed to be really good with the Force
Yeah,
and
you don't
Jedi. You
sense
can't.
the difference in her. Also,
Right?
her hair is just like perfectly the same. Like there was not
Yeah.
even a noticeable difference.
She also has like this thing on her forehead that you can probably see through her hair this close to her.
Plus, she's gotten
Hey,
in
look, it's
fights with like three
hollow
Jedi Masters
chess,
up to
but
this
not
point.
hollow.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Pie show.
analog chess. Yeah. But
Uh,
yeah,
the yeah, the certain little real world touches are very Star Warsy still. You know,
yeah,
I love that. But that is such a
yeah.
cool. Like this planet is very interesting to me.
I love the fact that they have these things out so you could see the quote unquote spaceport in the fog.
Yeah, yeah, like an old country bumpkin airport. You know,
Hmm.
for bush planes and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
And
pretty cool.
here we see Basil going, uh-oh.
Sniffy, sniffy.
Yeah, that's not the same lady.
It takes him
No.
like forever to tell Soul a thing, though.
Right. Well, I think he has to be sure. He's like, wait.
Yeah, yeah. The nose knows, though.
Yeah.
Two Camp Sam done
And
told us. Here's this
here,
Cortosis helmet. Picks it back up.
yep.
We see it's damaged. That's
And
from
it's
Jackie
bronze and
bashing
that,
the crap out of him, right?
yeah.
Uh,
And you see it's been damaged a lot of times, which means he
yes.
may have done this a lot,
Yes.
either fighting other acolytes or other Jedi.
Yeah.
Because as far as we know, no Jedi have just like disappeared. Um, it was the start of
Well,
the.
there are the Fallen 12 or whatever they call them in or the Lost 12, those busts that they have in the Jedi library. Those are from the entire breadth of the Jedi Order. Now, those were only, I believe, masters that left the order, or that.
But look at this care
There's a little
and
tenderness going on.
What an awesome quote to go out on too.
I didn't actually see it. I was talking. I didn't even see it.
He says something very, very Shakespearean at the end there. He says, "What wondrous creatures we are in the depths of our despair."
That is very Shakespearean.
So, yeah, but yeah. So let me do this. I'm gonna switch so that I don't spoiler the next episode for anybody else in the room I'm in.
I see what you're saying. Let me bring this up then, as you because this won't spoil anything. Let me bring this up. The Smilo guy here, come here. I was kind of thinking about the Darth Bane novels, and where Darth Bane didn't necessarily have like he kind of learned the Sith ways on his own, like YouTube videos, so to speak, and like library trips and whatnot, Now, I believe at the time the Sith were like vast, and he did have like actual like teachers and things. But as far as like the rule of two, that was something that he created because he kind of like wanted to go back to like this time of like where all the power is wielded by one and all the power is coveted by another, and then when the one is so powerful that it becomes his demise, the other one takes it over, right? And then the cycle repeats itself. I believe that Kamir Smilo is like the Darth Bane character in that regard, was trained to a degree, but went to seek his own. Because if the Sith, if what Kiadi Mundi says in The Phantom Menace is correct, and maybe he doesn't really even know like what really happened with this guy, right? And the Jedi don't really know forever over this 100 years. This could just be some guy trying to make the Sith exist again, trying to create this rule of two again, because we did hear that we could be getting some Darth Bane lore, right? We did hear that. It was teased over different like outlets and things. And we already got a little bit in Clone Wars. We're getting a little more, I feel like, right now. I don't know that that's who he is. You could be right. There could be another master involved that we don't even know about. But if I'm just putting my storyteller hat on, if I was telling the story, I would make it at this point, just knowing what I know, I would make it so that he is trying to please a non-existent master, trying to come up to his own ideals of what he thinks a Sith master should be, and he believes he needs an apprentice to realize his own potential. That's my thoughts.
Right.
That's my thoughts. Well, I don't know that there's a bigger master afoot here, but I've been proven wrong many times.
Well, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you want to, get good at something, you need somebody else there to actually either teach or learn with.
Don't we all have a lab partner in science class, right? Don't we all have a section leader in music class? Don't we all have, teachers need students, students need teachers. And it seems to me like Smilo Ren is a bit of both.
Yeah, and otherwise you're just some guy in a room, with a sword.
Which he is also, as we will find out in this episode. He is just also some guy in a room on an island in a place that we don't know the name of. So 1 minute on the dial, episode 6, called Teach/Corrupt, which is an interesting title. And sort of along the lines of what you were just talking about. So again, 1 minute on the dial, starting this in 3, 2, 1, go. And I have a little loading circle. Darth Vader, BB-8, C-3PO, Kylo Ren. I'm probably a second or so within what you're looking at.
It's all good. I stopped mine for just a half second so that you can see the Lucasfilm logo.
There's mine right now.
Okay.
Yep. We're probably right on.
So for the second time, we open the episode.
And May wakes up, or Osha wakes up.
That's right.
Sideways to normal, or vertical to normal. In this strangely serene environment.
She's been patched up.
Actually, I just noticed the strangeness is really that when she woke up the first time on the ship, it was sort of like, even though she was with friendly people, she was in a sort of sterile, not very inviting environment on that ship. But this is like she's with somebody who just killed all those friendly people, and she's actually kind of in an inviting environment. Like it's kind of homey. Like it's got its charm, you know. There's fresh water and food. Like I mean, yeah, it's strange. There's graffiti.
And we got
He's drawn on the walls.
Right. We got these little things, whatever they are.
Yeah, that's a weird little creature, man.
And look, he even put out clothes for you.
May's clothes. Right.
Well, kind of. They are the same size.
Yeah, they're not exactly the armor that she wore. No, that's right. Some boots, some fresh kicks, girl. He went shopping at Bloomingdale's for you.
Oh, what a beautiful place this is.
Very Octo-esque, and I'm sure that's on purpose.
All right. Looks like they dressed it just right. And you can see that this is Lord knows where.
Yep. And then they tell you, by the way, no name.
Yeah. Unknown planet.
She's on a place. Nobody will find her. Yep. Acolyte logo. So not as fast paced as the last episode for sure, but the storytelling definitely has a pace about it in this episode.
Oh yeah.
They switch back and forth a lot. And it does its job.
There is a ship over there on another island. And there is a peninsula there that if you waited until the water is low, you could probably walk there or only get your shoes wet.
Now you see these little creatures are like shying away from Osha as she walks by. I wonder if they think she's May, if they sense a darkness in her that she doesn't really know is in her, that we're going to discuss, right? Or if they're shying away from her because they think she's associated with him.
Right.
Although he doesn't seem all that dark, right? During this episode, he's sort of like gray. People are gonna hate me for saying
that. He's very much playing the teacher. And we see now that even in the Star Wars universe, you might not be on the network.
Yeah, you might have trouble sending that email. This is interesting because right now Soul is asking for help. In a few minutes, that's going to change. Help's going to come, and that's going to change.
Right.
This ship is interesting, man. It's sort of like a retro Millennium Falcon, you know. It sort of feels like a 50s diner in a way.
Yeah, I was about to say they kind of went with that 50s diner aesthetic with the colors they picked,
I like
but I
that. It
think that
shows
that's by design.
if it makes you feel like it's Earth old, then it makes you feel like it's Star Wars old.
Right.
I like that. And another kind of
And
oldish thing about this would be, we'll see in a second, when this ship docks, like with its bigger body,
mhm,
it's like sort of like the hyperspace ring. Like they can't
right,
just like always just jump into hyperspace with every ship they have, right? They have to
right,
have another part to get into that situation. And, it just shows the evolution over time to where, an X-Wing then can have a hyperdrive in 100 years.
right.
Pretty crazy.
And look, Master Soul's having a hard time.
Yeah, man. His world was rocked, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, a lot of his friends just died right in front of him. Little PTSD.
Yeah, he's having a moment. But I like how he's
And
like sort of trying to cope, But also, what's on his face right now? Does he know something, or is he just gathering his thoughts? It seems like he's gathering his thoughts, coming up with a plan.
something else that we kind of skipped over is the fact that once May walked in to this ship, she had a flash of the last time she was there on this ship.
Oh yeah, and that's
Take
probably because we have it muted. It's kind of hard to. But it was like, yeah, it was like echoes when she walked
mhm.
in. Hmm.
And then even in Star Wars, your battery can run out of on your cell phone here.
Yeah, this
And
scene
you
was a
just
little
can't
puzzling
find
to
your
me.
charger.
I thought that's what was happening, but and again, this shows. Oh, it's like a little older, right? Like your
Yeah,
droids don't just walk around with like a solar
right,
battery or whatever. Like
right,
they got to be plugged in. Which once in a while you hear about in Star Wars, right? Like if you not be required, I'll power down, so right? But like,
right.
yeah, my little man's here. He's trying to prove something.
Hmm.
Um, Now, I will say, I'm not a prude, but I am glad that they did not put actual nudity in Star Wars. Like, there's just a line that doesn't need to be crossed. Now, at the moment, he's in a very Sith-like tunic, right? He's in the gear
Hmm.
that he just battled in. He's
Right,
basically just taking a shower after a fight. Like
right.
he's
Well,
like
they are trying to show
the
his scar,
scars. Yeah.
and you know, and Manny Jacinto, the actor, is pretty much the very much sculpted his body to be able to kind of show a little bit more of his arms and chest so that everybody can be like ooh ah.
Mm-hmm. Black lightsaber
and
hilt, by the way.
and
Is that
this
the
is
first time we've seen that until Darth Vader? I think so.
maybe. Well, here is an interesting thing too, is like he knows what's happening
Yes, of course.
and she doesn't ignite it.
Decent stance. And he says that.
Hmm.
He's right. Decent
Yeah.
stance. My man's looks wiry, strong, right? But
Hmm.
sort of like also like starving, which is like a
Hmm.
very dark sidey sort of trait. And
Right.
they did a really good job with his complexion. I'm sure the makeup team had something to do with it because he's probably a little darker complected in real life. But they sort of made him look like that spends all his time in a cave Sith sort of skin.
Hmm.
Uh, but he doesn't have like the yellow dark sidey eyes, although he
Right.
still has a dark sidey sort of vibe. Like his face is still sort of like, it's not really a Jedi face.
No.
It doesn't scream Jedi.
Hmm.
Uh, and you see like there's like a humanity about him, like he at least seems physically like he's around the same age as OSHA, but you do kind of hear him drop a line that maybe he's much older than
Hmm.
that.
right? And he's pretty much, saying, no, this is what you're dealing with is not a uh, it's not something that happens. It is not unique to you.
Yeah,
Everybody would
yeah.
feel the way you feel right now.
But he knows, or at least he's letting on that he knows more about Osha and May than Osha and May might know.
Right.
Which is interesting. But yeah, that was a throwaway line. Interesting that you mentioned Soul first instead of May.
Right.
That's a throwaway line. And I wonder what the special relation, like, is he hinting that it might have been romantic? Maybe just that it was the Master and Padawan. I don't think the romantic thing is in the mix, but it's a very, just the way he talks. And I think that's the point. He's got that silver tongue, right? That Ka from the Jungle Book, the snake, right? Just the devil in the Garden of Eden. Just the way he talks is like, I mean, easy to just like follow him an extra step, to just listen to one more word, to just let him give you one more drink of water, one more meal, right? Like,
right.
I know I'm dancing with the devil, but I'll just do one more step,
Right.
And then this hug moment, we've never seen a Jedi hug anyone but another Jedi in like camaraderie, right? Like we never, aside from Anakin hugging Padme, we've never seen like Obi-Wan just be like, "Oh, it's so good to see you." He hugs Dax. It's like a bro hug. That was like a tender, like attachment hug, if you will. You know, interesting. Very interesting.
Oh, got a signal.
Poland GX8. That's the model of starship they're on. Love that.
Oh.
There goes the power. And then this moment, another throwaway moment. He says to her, "Do you want to take a look when the ship goes down?" And she just like, what's he talking about? Right? Like, and then she realizes, oh, that's right. Osha's a mech neck. Like I'm supposed to go out there and look at stuff.
Right.
That was an interesting throwaway moment.
I would
So
feel
there's
like
some
he
senatorial,
already knows.
Some weirdness going on between the Senate and the Jedi in this situation. The Senate doing like a, what was the word he used? Like a censure, if you will, of the Jedi. For some reason, we don't know.
Oh, they're always doing that.
Well, and what's her face here? Vernestra's a little nervous about it, especially with the news she just got. Like, what? Like, the entire what died? Right. By the way, she is badass as it gets. There's a term,
walking with purpose,
HBIC, and I'm not going to spell out for people what that means, but look that term up. That is Vernestra up to this point, or at least she's trying to keep it that way. It seems like she's trying to keep her together for a little bit.
Yep.
Which I like. I like a Jedi under pressure. It makes for good storytelling.
And here, we're in a place where they're, very much in their casual wear.
Well, I'll also say, and I was just this to that point. Kamir was sort of, and I don't think that's his real name, obviously, but when he was portraying Kamir, the clothing choices, the way that his body looked, I even said something about it a couple episodes ago. Like he looked a little bit like frail almost. But now the costume choices and the fact that they had him, take his shirt off at all, plus the sleeveless gi top, if you will, it's sort of lending to that wiry thing that I was talking about, where it's like, no, he might not be eating like a king out there on Islandville, but the dude's in shape.
Look at the peninsula there.
Yeah, he's just good at concealing it when it just shows deception is really the best martial tactic of the Sith,
Definitely.
they give enough truth to get to the next lie.
Right. Just enough.
Oh, it's great. And he really plays that well. I mean, if you're having trouble with the acting in this series, this is this kind of moment. You can't let this affect your thoughts on how good like Kamir is doing.
Basil just giving everything away here.
I love the single leg swipe though. He tries to take her down with the single leg, gets her up against the fence, drives her in like Khabib Nurmagomedov, and then just stomps her foot and runs.
Yep. By the way, people hate that when you stomp the foot.
Yeah. Oh no, it sucks. I got arthritis on top of my foot. If you stomp my foot, I'm in big trouble. Don't ever stomp my foot. And if I'm in big trouble, you're gonna be in big trouble in the next 5 minutes.
Right. And R.I.P. Pip, one of the unsung heroes.
I know, man. She factory reset him, dude. Just like an iPhone too. Like, just like when you power down an iPhone.
Yep.
Oh, poor Pip, man. Yeah, Soul needs to get his force attunement back in action.
Yeah. And quickly back to the other island.
Yeah, man, we're swapsies for sure on the storytelling.
But they're going back and forth. You're keeping us on our toes.
And now when Osha first woke up and felt the darkness or decided that she was in a situation with darkness, those little creatures shied away from her. Now Osha's starting to feel the serenity, the calmness that the stranger here is giving off, and those creatures were very calm just now. So it almost makes you wonder: is he manipulating the force in a way also where it's like, okay, follow the darkness, now follow the light, now follow the darkness, now follow the light, and I love
There's another way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the path to the dark side. This line right here, this word.
Semantics.
I mean, perfect, right? And Osha's here it is. Just pours it all out. You murdered my friends. No, I killed Jedi.
And you tried to kill me.
You killed Yord. Well, Yord turned you in, dude. He was supposed to be your friend. You killed Jackie, and what about it? Like, you just met her 10 minutes ago. Get over it.
Yeah.
Like,
what
did you expect from that? She was a Jedi, dude. She wasn't going to be your real friend.
Right.
I got a cup of soup for you. You know Grogu loves a cup of soup. You know you love it too.
Right.
And
not that easy
she's trying to resist, but I think this is his point. The more you tell me you're not easily corrupted, the more I have you corrupted.
Right. Like, no, I don't actually corrupt people.
He's so patient.
Yeah.
That patience is the most dark side thing about him.
What a good teacher. No, I'm playing. So there's like so much here. Again, very, very much very Shakespearean.
Yes.
As far as this. Like, you still think of yourself as a Jedi.
I appreciate it in that sense, but I don't love the physicality. It's a little odd to me. But hey, everybody's got their storytelling choices, and I do like how she's the one with the tense aggression, and he's just matching it enough to keep her still. He's not really like surpassing her aggression, which is interesting. He's the dark sider. He should be the one being all but nope. He's trying to bring it out of her. And this conversation.
And what a great question.
Why aren't you a Jedi? That's because I failed, and here it goes. And she pushes him. Interesting choice. She could have just cut his head off and been like, oops. But no, she still has this thing about her that she won't kill him.
Yeah. He too lost everything. He's a tragic figure.
But did he?
So,
well, we don't know.
Right.
Probably, right? But like, again, how much truth is going to lead to the next lie, and what's that next lie? Was it something that we thought was true? Yeah, this is pretty good Sith play.
You know what I love about this shot? The subtlety of the visual effects of the blade of the saber. Because they're using an LED.
Yes.
Like a polycarbonate blade there.
Yeah, just basically the same thing we always train with.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that
Look at
that's
all these
become the
Jedi
standard.
just hanging out.
Oh, by the way, this alien sitting there at that little table, that's a Selkath from the planet Manan. That is directly out of Knights of the Old Republic. They were in Clone Wars. One of the bounty hunters on Coruscant was a Selkath, but this is the first time we've ever seen them in live action, and it is super cool to see them. Manan in Knights of the Old Republic is one of the hardest planets. It's super stressful and takes a lot of time.
Yeah, he was back there in episode 3 as well, or episode 4
I missed him in that
as well. Yeah, it's the same place where Sol stopped Osha before she left.
Well, and I like seeing the non-Jedi who work at the temple, because we saw in Clone Wars and other, stories and stuff that there are lots of non-Jedi who work at the temple doing all kinds of stuff. Like, somebody's got to scrub the toilets. Probably not a Padawan. It might be, but it's probably not. It's probably, Joe the janitor, and he's probably got a great relationship with all the Jedi. They probably treat him real nice and whatever, except for, Master Ken.
All right.
Master Ken treats him real bad. But everybody else, that's the kind of thing I like seeing. There were those guys fixing, some antenna or something. But now Soul says, how can I not sense the villain's true intentions? The question is he talking about the stranger? Is he talking about May right here, right now? Is he trying to give her a hint he knows? Or is he talking about both? Is he talking about neither? You know what I mean?
Right.
This is good.
At this point, he already knows. At this
I
point,
think
he
so
already
too.
knows.
I think so too.
I think he knew when he just took a moment after he hugged her.
Yeah.
But
well, and I was gonna say that, but I wasn't. I didn't want to get too presumptive. That being said, that line about Pip there, yeah, like, girl, you didn't think he'd notice the red light versus, Plus, he's a Jedi. Don't all Jedi understand droid speak? Except Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan doesn't like droids.
I'm sure that there's like a binary 101 class in the Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
And
do you speak
a
Bachi?
small detail. All right. A small detail here is the big rip in Soul's uniform here, that he actually got a little messed up.
Yeah.
In that fight.
Yeah, he's
not just his face or anything like that, but his Jedi uniform is, not perfect.
Well, and that's the first imperfect Jedi uniform we've seen in the whole series. Up to this point, the Jedi have been well manicured and very prim and proper. Even after their fights, nobody had a hair out of place. And now, done got messed up. And there he goes, zippy zap. Perfect opportunity.
When did he grab that stun gun?
That's a good question.
When he hugged her.
Oh, that's a good point. Sleight of hand. Yeah, little Ocean's 11. And Basil, I'm sure Basil was telling him in Basil language, yo, man, that ain't right, man. That ain't no OSHA. Something up with this girl.
Right.
But yeah, that was lucky that she went into the cockpit and he was able to get behind her. Now, this is what I was talking about. He was asking for help. Help was told to be arriving. He hung up on him. As he exits, beep, boop, bop, they pull her into the driveway. Oh, by the way, Master Vernestra does not have to have a ship with an extra hyperdrive component. Her ship can go in and out of hyperdrive, no problem.
Yeah, and she gets car sick. Apparently.
That's true. That was another throwaway moment. This episode is full of those little.
But dialogues. In the High Republic novels, she also is not very.
No, that's good. I like that how they tie that stuff in. That's like when in Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan says, Master Voss on Boss Pity or something like that, and everybody's like, "Did he just say Voss like Quinlan Voss? Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
right? And then he shows up in Clone Wars.
Right.
And then in
And
a
then he's
canon novel, Dark Disciple, which is, by the
and then
way,
in the Kenobi
amazing.
series.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And here it is
Yeah.
for all you EU lovers. You know, he's working on his helmet here. And wait, what is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say the words? Of course he's gonna say the words.
Yeah, he actually calls it
The
Cortos. Now he
power
also
of
says the power of
two.
two. That's that Darth Bane right there. I do think they're putting some Darth Bane into this. The Smilo, the parallels between Smilo and Kylo. Kylo putting his helmet back together after smashing it. And the fact that they
Throw
both
me
have that
away.
Knight of Ren situation going on. Now he doesn't say
And
yes when she says you're Jedi Master. So is there a deeper answer than just yes? Was it all the Jedi Masters? Was it some?
Cortosis.
Yep,
Oh my
there
god,
it is.
he
He
said
just
it.
says it. Handy
Yeah.
against lightsabers.
But also sensory deprivation.
That's interesting, man. He puts himself into like a daredevil state of mind to tap into the Force in a deeper way.
And what you bring with you. And nor should you trust me. What a great line.
Yeah, I right away. Nor should you.
Right?
Like throwaway after throwaway, but thrown away like right in your face, right? Like
All right.
toss the banana peel in the trash can, but
This
over
this
your
is
nose.
this is the meat of the sandwich
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
This is the part in the story where you're just like, okay, I can't wait to hear what's next.
Well, and
Right?
like, how does Osha feel right now, right? Like, initially she was poop hot to put a lightsaber across his neck, but then
Oh,
like,
Jackie.
oh yeah, that's not a flattering shot of my girl. But anyway, the fact that she was ready
It
to
goes
put a,
from his helmet to her face.
well, that's
You
true.
know, because you're
That's an
staring at the
interesting
helmet, and all of
parallel.
a sudden, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's
Just
an
when
interesting
you're
parallel.
like, all right, this guy might not be so bad. Oh yeah, that's right. He killed all these people.
Everyone killed everyone,
Yeah.
not just the men, but the women and the children too.
Exactly.
But she's ready to put a lightsaber across his neck a little while ago. But now he's given her food, he's given her water, he's given her advice, he's given her an ear, he's given her opportunity to kill him, and she's not taken any of it. And now she's like, well, I'm in too deep now. Like I have to just keep hearing him out, I guess. Right? The devil just
so
drags you
far,
along one step at a time.
So far, we've seen her teach Osha more things than Soul.
Who?
Right? We've seen that he gives her so much more information than Saul ever has.
I think you meant him.
Yeah, in the previous episodes, we know Saul taught her as a Padawan, etc., but his skills erratic.
I like this teaching moment
Sole
again.
aim was to leave no survivors.
The word teaches.
What is this,
here it is.
Fode?
Light whips. By the way, that was a bad cut. She did not do that first motion into that second motion in real life. There was a weird cut there. That being said, that was dope. That was dope. And it's purple. I mean, I love that we're getting the mixed up colors again. That was like light whip. Go rewind that 20 times, people. I like the teaching moment there. The master and apprentice thing is all over this episode on purpose. It's right in your face. And she's teaching this chucklehead Padawan here. And all these things he's telling her, she's like, okay, go ahead. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you feel. But she already figured all this as soon as she put her boots on the ground. She figured this all out, you know, and she just needed to be there to feel it and confirm it and hear it for herself. So it's very interesting. Vernestra's got my attention.
And then we see May waking up for the first time.
Was it? This is a creepy soul moment. By the way, it was a little creepy. Let me tie you up so we can have a conversation.
Then let me go. Well, she has tried to kill him and has.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think detaining her is the creepy part. It's just a little bit of a creepy moment.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, it puts the lotion in the basket, you know. Um, oh man, this is crazy though. Soul definitely has some ghosts he's got to get over, right? Like he's exasperated at this point. He's taken on a different persona, and he's also come to a resolve that we've not seen before.
All right.
Jedi Soul might have just
And
kind
then
of taken a
a
break.
long period of black there.
I know. I thought the episode was over. It's great
Yeah.
filmmaking there for a moment. The
And then you're like,
sensory
but wait.
deprivation thing. She's
Yeah.
trying to figure it out because she's been feeling a little bit of the connection to the Force, right? She said something to Soul about it, and he kind of threw that away. He was like, you're not really gonna be a Jedi again, dude. Like, you kind of, you know what I mean?
Right.
But this guy's like, oh no, you don't need them to tell you when and how you can
And we
feel.
see she's in the midst of a cortosis vein. This is where he got it from. This very cave.
Oh, how did you notice that? Oh, how did I not notice that? I was watching on my phone. I'll use that as my excuse. Now I'm watching it on a 65-inch screen. So.
Yeah. I mean, you see it there, and then she even looks at it and looks back at it, and I was like, okay, there it is. And then now, what an awesome shot this is.
Yes.
Because this
It's
whole
very
thing,
much like Darth Vader
and
in Revenge of the Sith.
you hear the breathing,
Yes.
you see just a tiny slit of where she can see.
She looks like Kylo Ren.
Right.
Oh, it's
and
brilliant.
If you listen really, really softly, when he in the middle of the fight, when he first appears, you actually hear the Kylo Ren theme from Force Awakens.
So I did not notice that, but I actually wouldn't know that. I haven't listened to the soundtrack of those movies very much. So that is a really cool Easter egg, though. Like I'm glad you said that. I think those were solid episodes. Episode 5 gave everybody the release that they wanted. The release.
Absolutely.
And episode 6 gave us some super Sithiness. I mean, and I love the little Jedi investigation teams that they're sending out. They're just like, oh, let me throw another little investigation team at the situation and see if that'll clear things up. You can tell the Jedi haven't dealt with a serious threat in many, many years.
All right.
Yeah. And maybe there is something to the Sith have been extinct for millennia. But really, like, actually not for, like, the last 100 years they kind of been around, right?
Right.
Darth Plagueis had to come from somewhere.
Right.
Right? I'm just thinking out loud now.
And that's the beauty of this, right? Is the people that are steeped in the lore and understand or have, for years been like, oh, this might be this. This is the best part of it, I think, is the wild speculation of that and kind of just seeing what could happen. And then what could happen, even if it doesn't happen, could still happen in some other piece of media. So it's still one of those things that'll be like, that's great. But even if they don't use any of the established stuff, it's still good. It's still an amazing bit of art here that I'm just like blown away by.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kathleen Kennedy did not write that episode, right? She did not write these episodes. So if you're looking for somebody to blame for whatever
just
problems
put it out
you're
there.
having,
she doesn't write any of the stuff.
That's what I'm saying. She doesn't. Like if you've got to find a scapegoat, you've got to find a new one, because at this point, we're really getting what you wanted, right? The only thing we haven't gotten yet is the Wookiee Jedi fighting anyone, and I'm sorry, but we do need to see that. We do need to see some sort of flashback where this Wookiee Jedi gets a piece of
and
something.
I assume that we're going to see it just now in the next episode.
We have to go backwards in time again, because why did those 4 Jedi get singled out? Why do we care?
Right.
Because at this point we still don't.
Right. And at that point too, it's what May and Ocean need to come to terms with
Yeah.
before the denouement of the story. And they only have 2 episodes left to do it, so this is going to be
We're down to the wire
very,
for sure.
yeah,
I was thinking
very
about that.
interesting.
They can't really afford any more throwaway episodes. Episode 3 was mildly a throwaway episode. They can't really afford another episode 3 sort of vibe. I think they need to keep the pace ramping up. I think Vernestra's little light whip was potentially a just that little flash of the light whip was potentially a spoiler that there is about to be some seriousness. Now, you mentioned way back 4 weeks ago that Vernestra was like a couple hundred years old, right?
Yeah.
So if Smilo is correct and it wasn't just like more deception and he really has been around a long time, maybe that was his master.
Right.
He's got the lashings on his back like the lashings of a whip.
All right. Yeah, he has some uh, stuff stuff there that's just basically you know, there is definitely some physical trauma, some and all that stuff.
I'm not saying
Very,
it's her
very
fault,
much.
but I'm like she's got me intrigued. In
Right.
many good, I like the character in many ways, but I'm also curious. Like, ooh, what kind of problems did she have now? Also, just from a saber martial arts nerd perspective, is it just me or was that light whip also a lightsaber?
Yeah.
What like can
It's
she use that as a sword and a whip?
yes.
That is so cool, man.
Yeah.
You haters, man. This is Legends on your screen. Literally,
Yeah.
like, they're ripping Legends stuff out left and right in this series.
Right.
And we're still getting people complaining. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're just you don't have to like it, but now at this point, you might as well just not watch it anymore. You're not going to like anything. They're giving
Right.
you everything you want. Like when people complained about the Ahsoka series, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe it was a little slow in a couple of, but honestly, like they gave you almost everything you wanted. They gave you as much Thrawniness as you could possibly want, you Thrawn nerds. And I don't even like Thrawn that much, but I'm not hating on y'all for liking that. And you got that and you still complain. So I don't know what else to tell you. You got a light whip now, hearkening back to Lumia from, Luke's sort of Playboy days. And,
Mm-hmm.
you've got purple lightsabers, yellow lightsabers, reddish, pinkish lightsaber. Like you've got dudes pulling Shotos out of the bottom of their standard sabers. What
Right.
more do you want? You've got a light club. I mean, you've got Jackie doing some amazing like Jarkai. You've got reverse grips that aren't crappy. I don't understand what else we want. I mean, and that's just the
They
action and
want it to be
adventure
all
side of
that.
life. That's just the
They
action
want it to
adventure.
be all that. They want every episode to be episode 5.
Yeah, I think you're probably and look, I can sympathize with that because at the end of the day, I'm really just a little kid, right? And I just
Mm-hmm.
like to play lightsabers. That's the reason we're even talking to each other right now. We just like to play lightsabers. But I do like Star Wars too. I do like good storytelling, you know? I'm also just
Right.
a normal geek. I just like I just like the galaxy far, far away, and I don't see that what we're getting right now is, though I may have some problems, I don't see that it's all a problem. It's not been that
Right.
big of an issue. I had bigger problems with a lot of the Rebels episodes and even some of the filler Clone Wars episodes than I do with a lot of this
Right.
stuff.
Right.
Let me ask you this
Mm-hmm.
martial arts question, because
Yeah.
Ahsoka just popped up on my screen here. Interesting choice for her to hold her lightsabers with the curve going backwards of the hilt.
Right.
Uh,
right?
you want to riff on that for 5 seconds?
About reverse grip.
No, no, reverse grip. We know she reverse grips. No, when Dooku holds his curved hilt and Asajj Ventress holds her curved hilt, the curve is curving forwards.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense the way I'm
Right.
describing that?
Yeah,
When
I know what you mean.
Ahsoka holds her curved hilts, the curve is curving backwards. The pommel curves backwards, almost like a katana would,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is what they're going for because they're sort of ovular hilts, just like
Mm-hmm.
a katana would be. I think that's what they're going for, but the way that a lightsaber balances is not conducive to that hold. To me, it's more conducive to the curve going forward. Does that bother you at all? Is that just me being kind of like nitpicky?
So I'll say the same thing I said before about lightsaber hilts. So in cinema and in in storytelling, you would describe somebody's fighting style or somebody's character in the hilt or the sword that they carry, right? So Darth Vader's is big and clunky and is meant to be gripped with somebody that's very powerful,
Correct.
right? Whereas if you look at you know Asajj Ventress and or Dooku, they're using a curved hilt much more like a pistol grip rapier.
Or even
Uh, it,
Obi-Wan, it's sort of like an ornate chair leg, like an antique chair
correct.
leg, something you might pay a couple $100 for or a couple $1,000 for that was from some estate, and just this beautiful piece of, but it's got an elegance to the choke point, where he can really use it with a lot of dexterity. And Luke goes from his dad's power style hilt to the Obi-Wan furniture hilt, if you will. So it's interesting that you bring this up. Keep
Right.
keep
Well,
going.
you can even see the fact that the skinny neck between Obi-Wan and Luke, they are meant to be used a little bit more dexterously, used a little bit more
Elegantly almost.
in a Ceresu vibe of moving the blade faster around yourself versus reaching out to hit somebody with. And then you're if you look at uh, you know the katana style hilt too, it's meant to show you that no, this person thinks of them is not of a particular uh, place and time. She is a Ronin. She is meant to be,
Yeah.
to embody that. And, there's, you look at Balin Skull and Kylo Ren, who were basically about swinging big, swinging not necessarily wild, but swinging with strength and with their style of lightsaber.
Yeah,
And then
I
you
like
also,
Balin's. I just want to briefly touch on Balin because I was noticing the refinement of his style versus someone like Kylo or early Luke. The refinement of it's very clearly Shicho, very clearly
right,
basic and like you said, wide or wild or like sort of like deliberate. The Balin Skull is deliberate. Kylo Ren is wide and wild.
hmm
But it's the same. It's that Knights of the Round Table sort of intention that Balin Skull has mastered and Kylo never got a chance to learn.
right.
Anyway,
And then
keep talking.
you also see the in that you can look up the different types of lightsaber hilts and stuff like that. You can see
You
in the
can
High
get lost
Republic
for
as well,
hours looking into lightsaber hill. It's so much fun.
and you can kind of see that it does actually show a snapshot at that Jedi's characteristics at that time. Like if you look at the Episode One Obi-Wan saber, it looks like it's a mace. It looks like if you turn it over and you can bludgeon somebody with it because
Yeah,
it has
it's
little
true.
knobs on the side. Where you see Qui-Gon's like has sleek lines and is very very much
It's
a more
purpose
comfortable
built
sleep.
for being like, yeah, it's comfort.
Right.
It's a mommy wagon, right? Like a minivan, you know,
Right.
with all the trappings, but also
But
so
it's
simple.
yeah, it's meant to be more diplomatic, I guess would
Hmm.
be
Hmm.
the that descriptor. But then you look at, you know, Palpatine's. Palpatine's uh, saber hilts are small. They're meant to be hidden. They're right there. They're
And they
made of
are hidden. If you look into the
yeah,
literature, he hides them
yeah,
in artwork
and
in his office. He hides
yeah,
them in his sleeves, and they're
hmm
made of electrum plating, which is,
hmm
you know, his mockery of the Jedi, because electrum is lightsaber resistant.
right,
Very
yeah, and so also the one of the only other uh, people that had Electrum on her
Mace Windu.
lightsaber was Mace Windu, who, you know, basically Electrum is not common. It's very rare, and usually anybody that
Yeah.
uses Electrum
Now that I say
is a
that,
master
I
or
should
higher.
probably look into that. I think Palpatine's got electrum on his, but now that I'm saying that,
Hmm
I might should look into that. I could just
Yeah.
ask Eric, but I think it is. I think they both do, and I think that's they're the ones that end up facing each other in the end of it all.
hmm
Yeah, Mace Windu. There's another good one, because his hilt in episode 1, by the way, is different than his hilt in episodes 2 and 3. And if you actually look into the lore, there's this thing called a concordance of fealty, which is when two Jedi will basically trade lightsabers for whatever period of time, and it's like a sign of respect. It'd be like, um, you know, let's say, um, this would be an extreme example. This is I've never really seen this play out, maybe once, but like if a black belt was going to teach a class and they didn't, for whatever reason, remember to have their belt with them, right? Like, or maybe like they flew in for a seminar, and I think this is where I saw it once. Somebody flew in for a seminar and their luggage got lost,
hmm
so they didn't have a uniform.
Right.
So we gave them a uniform from our rack, and my instructor gave him a black belt from his wall. And it was just a simple black belt, but it was like, it was a concordance of fealty, if you will. Here's my
Mm.
belt. Like, here's my lightsaber, right?
Right.
But in the comic book Emissaries to Malastare, by the way, Dark Horse Comics, Mace Windu and Eth Koth trade lightsabers, and the hilt that he has in the Phantom Menace is supposedly Eth Koth's hilt. Now, at what point he changes to the electrum and the purple and all that, did Eth Koth get that? Is that all now just thrown away to legends? Probably, but it warrants consideration, um, because at a time when Mace Windu and Obi-Wan Kenobi have like these very stylized hilts, Anakin Skywalker even, most of the other Jedi have pretty basic hilts. They're like cylinders with a couple choke points and flares, and that's about it. I mean, you're not seeing like light whips and special colors, and like everybody's got blue, green for the most part. Once in a while, they might change their color up. Like the sentries have the yellow staffs, but like you're not seeing a lot of variation. You're seeing basic designs that get the job done in a time where like the lightsaber was just now a tool, like a military tool,
Right.
versus when it was an expression of like a katana might have been when a samurai would wear a specific katana for specific occasions or something that would, you know, it's just versus, you know, the katana they might wear, or the wakizashi they might wear everywhere. Um, anyway, I don't know that I'm even talking about that correctly. Somebody might be able to correct me on that, but it's just interesting. I was just seeing the picture of Ahsoka there holding the hilts in a way that I thought was not conducive to them. But again, like you said, the characterization, it's just, it's fun to think about. It's fun to come up with reasons for why things happen and why we see things, even if it has nothing to do with what Dave Filoni or anybody else was really thinking when they did it.
Right. My other point was the fact that there is there are visual guides and things like that, and there are
Yeah,
even
usually they'll tell you.
there's even like not a cross-bladed saber, but a saber with quillions.
Yes.
But that character, it is more like one of the Knights of the Round Table.
Yes.
Rather than a thing. So that's why they have a sword that looks like a lightsaber that looks like Excalibur's, because that's it's the way they see themselves.
Yeah.
And then there's some with like a crazy rapier, basket hilt lightsaber, and that person sees themselves more like
the swashbuckler or the musketeer.
Yeah. So a lot of the design choices and things like that, there's only so many things you can do with a cylinder, right?
Correct.
If it has characterization, if it has a thing, like you mentioned the fact that he has a black saber. It's like, yeah, well, it's easier to hide in dark clothes.
Yeah.
And also, if you look at his emitter, it's actually slightly angled. There's a certain quote unquote bent to it, and the emitter has a slight thing. So there's a lot of like little things that speak to the character. And I don't know if that's just, that's everybody's design choice, but usually what they do is they have like a tray of lightsabers, and then the actor gets to pick, which saber works the best for him.
I hope that's the way they still do it. I hope that's the way they still do it. I don't know if that's the way they did it for the newer stuff, but I really hope so. Obviously, for Ahsoka, they had sabers designed for the Clone Wars that Rosario Dawson had to deal with, and Caitlin Deschelle as well, her stunt double. Yeah, for like this, I'm really hoping that they did that. They pulled out the magic box of lightsabers and said, "All right, which one do you want?" You get. By the way, if you look up the Phantom Menace special features, they have that in there, where they get to pick their lightsabers. And the only ones they didn't get to do that for would have been like Anakin. He obviously Graflexed himself into that role, right? Like you have to use the Graflex for that one. And then Obi-Wan for Revenge of the Sith did not get to choose his hilt for that. But this is an interesting point. Obi-Wan lost his hilt in episode 1, took Qui-Gon's, right? But then presumably built an identical saber to the one that he lost for episode 2.
Right.
Then that lightsaber gets destroyed. He gets one of the basic ones that everybody's wielding. And then he still decides to like stylize one.
Right.
It's just cool, man. I like this kind of like nerdery back and forth about some of the more trivial things. But for martial artists, this is not trivial. I mean, the hilt design is really how you use the weapon.
Right. And it does speak to you, the type of weapon that you choose.
It speaks to your own character, like you were saying about these characters. Yeah. Man, this is a good place maybe to leave it. Okay. So that was great. We've got some cool things that we were just talking about today. We heard from Katie today. That's great. So we can get people rolling here. Visit sabermartialarts.life. Send us a message, sabermaoutreach@gmail.com, mastervenable@phoenixsaber.com. Let us know if you want to learn some saber martial arts. If you're already teaching saber martial arts and you want to become an affiliate school, reach out to us. Also, thank you. And a thank you again for listening to this show, whether you consume it audio or on YouTube or whatever. Thank you anyway. That being said, click on the link in the show description to get to our YouTube channel where you can see gamer martial arts. You can see the holocron classes that I mentioned, like the tomahawk class where we hint did some reverse grip, hint did some jarkai, hint I swung a sharp axe inside of a very nice wedding venue, and didn't damage anything. And also, Alan and I will be going up to Michigan in a month and a half, something like that. It's early July now. We'll be going up in mid-August to do the Terra Prime Light Armory Light Fencing certification. This is going to be a new thing for me, so it should be interesting and fun, and I'm excited. I think this weekend we are recording a podcast with Terra Prime, so hopefully I'm not lying when you hear this, and that will be coming out in a week or two after this. You guys will hear the Acolyte wrap up here in a couple weeks. When Alan is out here, I'm hoping we can do some sort of holocron type thing. We're definitely going to record a podcast or two. We'll record with the Terra Prime guys again. And if you want to hang out with us and swing sabers with us in person, check out the event on Eventbrite. It's the light fencing. What's it called? Light fencing. Oh my gosh! Activation workshop. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. And we are not getting any sort of kickback from Terra Prime by telling you that. So go check it out. You need a jersey to fight in. Links in the description. Alan designed it. It looks amazing. Check it out. And yeah, Alan, you got anything before we go?
No, just I think I have an idea. I'll talk to you offline about it though, because it's kind of out there.
Okay, I love that. We leave people with a good cliffhanger. SaberMartialArts.life. You people are beautiful. Leave us a 5-star if you love us. If you don't love us, try not to leave us a 1-star. Maybe just leave us a review or a comment that's like, "Oh, I hate you guys," because even that helps us. However, we prefer love.
Yeah, even if you do hate us, leave us a 5-star.
Yeah. Leave us a 5-star, but tell everyone why we suck. No, in all seriousness, we do prefer love, but we don't shy away from critique. So if you got something to say, maybe hit us up. I gave you the email addresses, but you can always hit us up. And if you love us, tell other people why you love us. That helps us too. So thank you very much, and bring your own saber.
This party's over.